Hey guys, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I'm going to try something new. I have been swamped with old releases, new releases, so I just thought I'd combine it into one video of what I've been watching over the past week, last weekend, and what's to come this weekend from Netflix. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into these. Some were good, some were not so good, so I'm just going to give you a little breakdown. The first film that I'm going to talk about is Things Heard and Seen with Amanda Seyfried and James Norton, which is on Netflix. Now, I love a good psychological thriller. I really do. And this one happens to also be a ghost story. And Amanda Seyfried is the star of this film. I thought she did an incredible job as this wife who feels so pinned down and just suffocated with her living situation with her husband and her daughter Franny. Her husband just gets to do whatever he wants and he's always advancing and she feels like she's just in this rut. She's forced to kind of move entirely, like really just uproot her work, everything that she's worked hard for in this one spot. She moved for her husband because he got a golden opportunity in this small town miles away. There's this little secluded house in the middle of nowhere, and normally, as we all know from ghost stories, that doesn't end well at all. So we go to this house, really creepy in the middle of it. And I'm not one for spoilers. I will not spoil this movie because it is interesting in the first half. You get to really understand these characters and there's so much marital drama that you're just sitting there like, I need to know everything about these two and why they're feeling this way towards each other. And then you see the shift in the middle of the film when things kind of get weird because of the ghosts in the house. What I really enjoyed in the first half is the exploration of evil spirits connecting to evil doing and then good spirits in the home that end up looking out for others with a good spirit and good intentions. So I really enjoyed the exploration of that because I feel like majority of the time it's when we see supernatural horror, supernatural thrillers in that way, it's always tied to the evil spirits latching on to someone in the house. And in this case, it was a good spirit. And we get to see this amazing buildup between, husband and wife and what they're going through separately, individually, and then bringing their drama home with them. I thought that was really great that we got to explore that. But as much as I enjoyed the first half, the second half of this film just dragged on. I think the pacing lost its footing a bit towards the end and trying to wrap everything up nicely in a little bow and try to explain. Still a great watch. I didn't mind it. And Amanda Seyfried really just knocked it out of the park. I really enjoyed her performance. And as much as I'm praising Amanda Seyfried, James Norton did his job. If you enjoy ghost stories and, thrillers in this case, then I definitely recommend it. I do. It was a good watch. If you have nothing else to watch, I do recommend Things Heard and Seen on Netflix. And I did give it a 3 out of 5 on my Letterboxd, so you can go check that out, and my full review is linked below. Next, I'm going to review Without Remorse on Amazon Prime. I adore Michael B. Jordan. I think he's a great actor, and I'm always excited for the projects that he's in, that he's building, that he's producing. I'm always excited for him. But Without Remorse on Amazon Prime, it was a rough watch. It was really rough. The thing is, it doesn't get you invested in any of the characters right from the start. You at least have to have a connection to the lead character, and there was nothing. I felt nothing, and there's so many things that happened to him, to Michael B. Jordan's character. There's no connection. There was nothing there. I felt like it was really bland in its execution. The structure was really overstuffed, trying to fit everything in from Tom Clancy's novel, and that it kind of suffered what majority of book adaptations suffer. So I can see why it was overstuffed. The characters weren't fully developed, to be perfectly honest. The action wasn't that flashy. I mean, all of the best action scenes were in the trailer, and then you watch the film and there's like those same action scenes placed in very weird spots that did nothing. It was just so difficult to see what was happening in this film because majority of it took place at night and then they didn't light it properly. So I didn't really know who was fighting who was taking the shots. Like it was just, it was hard to even see what was happening. but the pacing of this film, that's where this faltered. Again, as I said, it suffered like all book adaptations. There's some things that you didn't need to put in and that could have been edited. It's hard. It's hard when you're trying to take all of that story and put it in a 2-hour film. So I'm sorry, Michael B. Jordan. Without Remorse was a tough watch for me. So maybe give it a go on Amazon Prime if you're a Tom Clancy fan. But if you're not and you're kind of just a Michael B. Jordan fan, then this unfortunately wasn't it for me. So yeah, 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That is my review for Without Remorse. Now I'm going to talk about the new Netflix film called Monster, which is released today with Kelvin Harrison Jr., Jarrell Jerome, A$AP Rocky, I know I said A$AP Rocky, John David Washington, Jennifer Hudson, and Jeffrey Wright. This cast, oh my God, when I started watching this, I was just blown away with everyone. They did such a fantastic job. They're all superstars, every single one. I listed all of those people. And yes, even A$AP Rocky did a fantastic job. He was so great in this film. But I need to remind you guys, if you haven't watched any other Kelvin Harrison Jr. films, please start with this one. He is fantastic. He's also going to be in Euphoria season 2. The guy is one of the best young actors working out there, and he always picks the best projects. The film is about a 17-year-old honor student from Harlem named Steve Harmon, who is an aspiring filmmaker and is living his best life. He gets good grades in school, has a loving family, and also a beautiful and supportive girlfriend. He spends his days exploring the streets of Harlem, taking street-level photos and on-the-fly footage with people in his community. However, his world is turned upside down when he unfortunately gets caught in the middle of a robbery in a bodega that results in a murder, with law enforcement assuming him to be an accomplice. What's so interesting about this film is that it may seem like a generic courtroom drama, but the way they structured this film was really well done. So what they did was that they started off with Steve in jail, and then it would go to flashbacks, and then you would go back and forth in that way where he would be on trial, and then he would go back to the days leading up to what had happened in the arrest. So I thought it was really interesting. It's a great choice, I think. And then on top of that, it's so layered with what Steve does as a filmmaker, and they made sure to incorporate the way he saw the world in the flashbacks with his camera and the videos that he would make for school. So the cinematography was playing around with like black and white photos, black and white images, and I thought that was really great to see that and see a different lens. And they really played around with that, which I really appreciated. But the most important thing about filmmaking, and this is what was taught to him in school, was that you need a story, but you need to bring out that honesty. That is the job of the filmmaker. And then that kind of ties in what's happening with him on trial and who he is as a person and how people perceive him as a person, how the jury perceives him, how the corrupt system perceives him. And it's just really interesting to watch. It's a great story. I thought it was very well written, and the performances, Kelvin Harrison Jr., my God, it has been amazing watching him grow into a fantastic actor. He's absolutely brilliant. Please, if you haven't watched any of his stuff, go back, go look up his filmography. He's so talented, and I'm excited to see more from him. Monster was a surprise. I have to admit, I didn't know what to expect going into this, and the reason why I wanted to watch this was because of Kelvin Harrison Jr. and obviously John David Washington. So John David Washington's part is a bit smaller, but he does the job. He does the job. He was great. I thought he was fantastic in this as well. The whole cast is great. Jennifer Hudson had some great moments. Jeffrey Wright had some great emotional moments. And again, the flashbacks in this film is what really brings it together, and you get that emotional connection with all of these characters, and I think that's what makes it work so well, especially in regards to the family. You see those flashbacks, and then you kind of see his flashbacks to school and how dedicated he is in school to becoming a filmmaker. And it's a good watch just because of the way it was structured, and I did give it a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, because I was just so interesting. It was so great. And I think the performances really drive it, and you really play around with different lenses, and I thought that was really great because the whole film is about the perception of others, and I think that it worked extremely well and try to translate that in the filmmaking aspect. So Monster was a great surprise, and if you want to watch a courtroom drama this weekend, I recommend it. I really do. And go watch Kelvin Harrison Jr.'s filmography, please. He's so great. Please do it. I just gave you so many recommendations, not without remorse, but everything else is there. Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Come chat with me, join in the conversation, and I'll catch you next time. Keep watching movies.